Good day, viewers. Good afternoon. Sorry for that slight delay. All right. I hope everyone is well relaxed and ready to be informed. All right. So the presenter for today is John I. Johnson. I'm the product development agronomist for the Southeast region. And the focus topic is watermelon production, but we're focusing on nutrition. Right. So we had previous Zoom trainings on pest and disease management. So today we're just trying to zoom in more on the nutrition since that's basically been or have been a problem for a lot of farmers over the period, right? So the focus today is nutrition. So grab your cup of coffee, tea, juice, anything you want to grab, and basically let us venture into the nutritional aspect of melon production. All right, so some of the topics we're going to focus on today is introduction to watermelon, give you a general overview of the crop, the varieties that we carry, nutritional parameters that you need to basically have on your checklist to ensure that your crop starts off well, foliar fertilizers carried by CCJ, your granular fertilizers, and your soluble fertilizers. And for those who are not aware, we have transitioned with the name Caribbean Chemicals Jamaica Limited. So you're gonna see me refer to that a lot, right? Also, foliar nutrition programs that we have, the granular and the soluble as well. And also to close off the successes, right? And then I'll mention about potential costing that you'll incur while using the different programs. All right, so watermelon is one of the crops I basically personally love. So that's one thing you'll know about me. I love watermelon. I may not be able to eat as much because of the high potassium level and what it does to me, but I love this. This is one of my top five fruits, I should say. All right, and generally the origin of this crop is said to be in Africa because researchers have found melon seeds in the tombs of the pharaohs, right? So indicating this crop has been produced over the years in Egypt and other parts of Africa. There's still a debate about either West Africa, whether the origin is West Africa or North Africa. So that's a continuous research, but is a crop originating from out of Africa. So that warm, bright, sunny conditions is the ideal conditions to grow this crop. And that's why you usually realize that the crop generally performs better in the summer period. Right. Nowadays, watermelons grow across the world. So from North America, South America, Central America, and of recent the Caribbean. So once you're in a tropical or subtropical region, you can grow this crop to a suitable uh, volume that is very marketable, right? And I think to note, the watermelon fruit is considered a special berry, right? So that's very surprising when I found that out. Yeah, it's considered to be a special berry. Generally, what we think of berries are like a strawberry that has multiple fruits joined together to form that composite fruit. But this is basically one fruit with no internal division, right? So watermelon considered a special berry. All right. So in terms of melon production, what you should know, they range in varieties. So ideally, it is good to know which variety you're seeking. So if you want a variety that has a nice deep red color in terms of the flesh, or you're going for a variety that has a dark external rind, or a ice box variety, which is generally about 7 to 9 pounds, or you're looking for bigger varieties like your crimson type of melon, right? Also, you can check about the bricks content, which is referring to the sweetness of the melon, right? So if your market is going for a sweeter type of melon, you want to understand the bricks. All right, so some of the varieties that we have, we'll go through them. So we have our Carib Supreme. This is a nice oblong hybrid variety, which generally gives you about 22 to 26 pounds, right? So this is a nice variety for the market. How you can differentiate this variety is by the rind pattern. So it gives you it has a nice light green rind, right, with distinctive dark stripe. As you can see in both photos, you see that distinct those distinct stripes. Yes, that can indicate the variety Carib Supreme. Also, the flesh is what we call a deep crimson, which is giving you a nice red color, right? Which a lot of the persons locally like a nice deep red color. Also, the sweetness, about 11 to 12 in terms of bricks content, right? So it's a nice eating melon, nice for juicy, nice for doing other processing. And the maturity time, relatively short, 75 to 80 days, right? So, and let us transition to the other variety. All right, this is one that I personally love. This is our Sureness, and this variety is from No New, one of our seed suppliers, and this is considered a icebox variety. And what I mean by icebox, a nice round personal melon that generally countries like in Japan persons would take one of these melons to work, right? And the general average weight is about 7 to 9 pounds. And how can you distinguish the Sureness? It has a dark green rind with basically light green stripes knitted around the melon, right? And also one of the distinctive feature of this melon is the bright yellow color. Sorry, I couldn't provide a picture showing that bright yellow color inside, but it has a nice color. And also one of the plus points is that the cavity is filled. So generally you see other yellow melons with broken cavity. What I mean, you have cracks in the cavity, right? This one is a nice solid cavity, which is basically excellent for the local market. And the maturity times, close to the maturity time of cucumbers. So you're talking about 60 to 65 days. So in a short time, you have this variety ready. And next big one, which is gaining popularity, is our Extreme. And this is a crimson type of watermelon. Nice oblong shape, right? Average weight of about 33 to 36 pounds. Dark green rind with dark stripes. So this is a crimson type of melon. And for new melon persons who are new to the melon planting, when I say crimson type, I'm not just talking about one variety, right? I'm not talking about the Crimson King. I'm talking about the type of melons. On the world market, they generalize these big red melon as crimson types of melon, right? So based on that, the Extreme has a deep red color with bricks content about 11 to 12, which is very sweet, and maturity time about 80 to 95 days. So that is one of the top ones that you need to consider for the upcoming season. And to top it off or close off, we have our Empire number 2. Well, this melon has changed the local market in terms of selection. Generally, persons go for the dark rind melon, right? But since introduction of the Empire number 2, and persons in St. Thomas, St. Catherine, Clarendon, and other parts of the island has been growing it, there has been a love for this type of melon, Empire number 2, which is generally a light-skinned melon, same oblong shape. The weight varies from 22 to 27 pounds, but I've seen farmers get averaging about 28 upwards, right? And, as I said before, light green rind with the flesh inside, nice red, and a bricks content about 11 to 12, with a shorter maturity time than the Extreme of about 70 to 75 days. So those are some of the varieties that we carry. We're supposed to have the Empire number 2, the Extreme, and the Sureness in stock right now. So if you want to grow a watermelon, you can come and check us on those varieties. All right, so you have your variety. What you need to know now, some key things. So we're going to our nutritional parameters. All right. So the first one I see on the screen is soil testing, right? And this one is very key because the main reason why a farmer or a grower would want to have his soil tested is to know what are the components within my soil. Understand? So it is generally recommended that before you go into your yearly planting, you do a soil test. That is sometimes lacking locally, where some persons are able to do a soil test every probably every 3 years, right? And that test usually gauges how they apply over that 3 year period. However, as I said before, it is recommended that a soil test should be done yearly before the entering of your major crop cycle. And what that does is to give you an update on the nutritional component of your soil. So if you go into your macronutrients, your phosphorus, your potassium, and you delve now into your sub-macro like your calcium, magnesium, and your micros, your iron, your boron, your zinc, etc., that will give you an understanding what you will need for the upcoming crop. And why a yearly suggestion is that each crop you plant will remove some amount of that nutritional component that you had, right? So if you're basing your nutritional status on old results, that may be skewed, right? Because you're planting yearly and the crop is taking the nutrients required to grow. So a yearly soil test is ideal. And following that soil test, what you can do is to use different methods of amending your soil. Generally, persons would go the route of using manure. So you can choose your chicken manure, your horse, your cow, goat, whatever suits you best. But the key thing is to know that allow that manure the time to break down properly to get the full benefits of the manure, right? So if you're using chicken, you're waiting about 9 months until that breakdown, and the different animal more takes different time. So select the one that works out best for you or easily accessible, but give it time to break down so you can apply that to your soil. All right. The next thing, nutrient interaction, which is very key. And I think if we're focusing on nutrition, especially if we're doing fertigation or we're doing bulk mix, knowing which elements come together is very essential. And I even took the time to borrow a graph from a fertilizer supplier overseas. And what this is showing you is that the different blends of solubles that farmers generally use and their compatibility. So let me point out now. So you see we have calcium nitrate. And I'm talking about the top column. So we're picking up calcium nitrate. And if you look to your left, you realize or look below, you're seeing a red box. And based on the legend, it's telling us that red means incompatibility. And if you look to the left, you see that potassium sulfate is not compatible with your calcium nitrate. All right. Another thing that is not compatible is mixing ammonium phosphate and your calcium nitrate, or you're mixing your iron, zinc, copper, and manganese sulfate with your calcium nitrate. So you have happening is that antagonistic reaction in your bulk mixture, which will cause precipitation and further blocking air lines. So this chart, I would advise farmers, you have this one and or others that you can carry around on you to basically be a guide in terms of when you're going to mix your soluble fertilizers. So this is one of the key ones farmers who are mixing need to have. And the next thing is your pH and the nutrient availability. You have several graphs that will indicate the availability of nutrients depending on the medium. This one is generally for mineral soils. So this will show you the pH range at which the nutrient is basically quickly picked up or available to the plant. So these charts will give you a guide as in terms of when you're applying a fertilizer, how you're applying a fertilizer and how effective the fertilizer isn't delivering what you require. Thirdly, fertilizer efficacy, and this is very key, very key. Since the recent introduction of different fertilizer blend, farmers are realizing that fertilizer efficacy is very key in giving you the results that you want. So what I mean about fertilizer efficacy, all right, your fertilizer should generally basically be very pure. So you want fertilizers that are being obtained from the highest quality, right? Generally chloride or sodium free, right? Fertilizers that have high solubility and fertilizers that won't severely affect the pH of your soil. So the efficacy of the fertilizer is very key, because if your fertilizer is not designed properly to deliver that nutrients to the plant when it's needed, then you won't get the result that you're seeking, or you'd get phytotoxicity or block lines or any problem resulting from improper fertilizer. So fertilizer efficacy is crucial. And you'll see me mention that, see me focus on that when I'm talking about the Elixir line and the Abadon line of granular fertilizer. And the last thing, crop analysis. This one is this I regard as the future. I think locally we have to move more towards this, where farmers or research labs can come around and take sap, plant sap, and do analysis on that to understand how much nutrients or what type of nutrients the plant is using in different stages, right? So this will guide you and to determine how you would apply your fertilizer, what fertilizer you'd apply first, the amount, and how much the plant will basically take up. Generally, this varies based on location and variety. So what I mean is that if I'm in Westmoreland and someone in the US does a crop analysis on watermelon, it does not mean that I'm able to quickly look at that analysis and use it for my watermelon production in Westmoreland, right? It may work, but it may not be suitable. And it depends on the variety too, right? So you taking a crop analysis for a variety like your sureness versus the extreme, it would be different, right? So you'd have to know that. And lastly, it depends on your season, the growing season. So the crop may perform differently in the fall period versus your summer months and your spring months. So those are some of the things you have to consider: locality, the variety, and the growing season. So those parameters you can use to fine tune your production even before starting. All right, so what we have at CCJ is different range of fertilizers, and fertilizers with different mode of action. So we have our Omics line, which generally we have the popular one, Omics Calmax B, or Bio 2045, Foliar Boron, Garland, etc. Right? What we do is to select a range that the plant will get optimum source of nutrients, either by foliar spray, granular, or soluble. So the Omics line is one of those lines that we include in our watermelon production. And if you want more detail on this, you can check back on our Omics training and you get further information on each of these products. So I won't basically stay long on giving you any information on the products. All right, the next foliar line is our Miller. So we have our Miller Sugar Express, Kickstart, and Sugar Express is one of those popular ones in terms of swelling up the fruit sides, increasing the color, increasing the sweetness. The Kickstart, a good one to get that plant off and running. Then the transition into a Nutrient Express, we have our biostimulants like your Cytoplex, your Cytokine, your Green Stim, which are excellent stress relievers and stimulants that will encourage root development and foliage development. All right, so a combination of these foliars will help to boost the production of your crop. All right. And other foliars that we have recently brought in is our Saita calcium phosphorus product. So we're talking about 41% calcium with 40% phosphorus, and this will supply your plant with additional calcium and phosphorus. So Saita especially, it can be applied through the drench, fertigation system, or spray on. So this is one of the high calcium source that we have that is basically functional for use. So this is a new addition to our watermelon production program. And the biostimulant that comes with the site is our evergreen. So you're talking about nutritional supplement, right? And biostimulant effects. So in order to boost the how effective a result you get from the site, you want to combine the evergreen with it to basically open the plant, relax the plant, and allow the plant to absorb as much as that 41% of that calcium as the plant will require. And finally, in terms of foliar, all right, is our agar-leaf line. And in the agar-leaf line, we have our root max, or green max, or nutrimax, and the recently introduced flower max, right? These are foliars that are packed with macronutrients and micronutrients and will deliver effective results with basically chloride-free nutrients, which are very safe for your plant health. All right. So let me just bring across now into the granular line. Here, these are two premium blends that we brought in for different crop and different use. All right. Let me start off with our Elixir line. So the Elixir line is what we call our complex fertilizers, or what I mean is that each grain of elixir that you pick up. So, give for example, I open a bag of the 12, 12, 17. You see those blue grains, right? Yeah, that's the color of the grain that you see on the bag. If I pick up one grain of that elixir 12, 12, 17, I am assured that that grain will have that 12% nitrogen, 12% phosphorus, 17% potassium, the sulfur, the manganese, zinc, boron, etc. No, magnesium, boron, etc. Right? So that is the beauty about the elixir line. The compound fertilizer. So every grain that you pick up will have those components within. And what that means is that you're getting uniformity. So uniform growth, uniform availability of the fertilizer, and more effective results from that fertilizer. All right. So this is one of the premium blends. And as I mentioned before, it's very highly soluble. So once this touches water, you get a gradual breakdown. And because this fertilizer is not basically coated onto fillers, that breakdown is consistent. Because as I said before, each grain has the same amount. So as the fertilizer gradually breaks down, that same component is being released each time it dissolves. So you don't have to worry about properly mixing the blend when you're applying, or you have to worry about everything washing away at once, right? Each time moisture reaches that those granules, they gradually break down. Our next top blend is our Abadon line, right? And we have in this line our 1122, 1428, 14, 15,535, and the sulfate of ammonia. And this blend, similar to the elixir, although this is not a compound blend, but however, this blend is basically pure in terms of the formulation. So minimal fillers. So what you have happen is that when you apply either your 1428 or your 1122, when you touch back to that area in the next 2 weeks, you won't see marl or other fillers on the surface of the blend of the soil, right? This fertilizer is highly soluble and very free of chloride or sodium that will cause much issue to your plants or or affect even your pH, right? So this is one of the top fertilizers blend that we carry. All right. So since you're aware of those blends and where the products that we carry, we can then venture into the foliar nutritional aspect and also the granular and the soluble. Oh, but before I go on, let me mention that the agasal line is a growing line now, is the line of solubles that we carry. So we have in this line our 50, 30, 15, and this is packed with trace elements and magnesium. Also, the agasal 9, 18, 36, a lovely blend, magnesium and trace elements as well. And our agasal 10, 5, 40 with our trace elements. And don't forget, we have our agasal 2020, which has trace elements of it. So this is one of the superior line of solubles out there, right? This is a European standard blend. So what we're talking about is integrity, high solubility, free of impurities, and will deliver uniform growth and result. Understand? So those are some of the fertilizer options that we carry. So what I'll do now is to venture into the foliar nutritional program. So give you the meat of the matter, because that's why everyone is here, right? To be informed of how would I structure these products. Because so Janai, you present me several lines of foliar, several lines of granular, and some soluble. So how would I now structure my program to give me the results that I'm looking for? So here goes now. All right. So for persons who in the classroom like pictograms, I basically gave them a nice depiction of how I would structure or how the team would structure the foliar nutritional program, right? And up there, see, I'm saying this is number 1 of 2. So I'm giving you 2 options, and this is based on availability of product in whatever region you are, or based on the costing. Understand? All right, so here we go. So the first one, you're seeing at seeding, I'd use the Saita, and you can combine this with Evergreen, right? What that does is to supply that newly, that seed with enough calcium to quickly germinate. And once it has germinated, enough phosphorus available at the root zone to give that quick root mass. And I've always said in previous training that don't be fooled that a plant is seeking nitrogen in that early stage. It's really phosphorus. So when you're starting out, you want to ensure that your roots are properly anchored, right? So you're seeking as much phosphorus to be able to have that root mass to further pick up your nutrients, all right? Then as the seedlings emerge, usually pushing out to 1 or 2 true leaf, you want to transition to your O-mix Bio20 and 45 mix. And what you're getting from this mix is basically quick root development. Reason being is that the O-mix Bio20 is not only a Bio20, a 2020 fertilizer. This is a biostimulant with 2020 properties, right? And what the seaweed extract in the Bio20 will do is to cause the plant to develop quick rooting. Understand? So that seaweed, that 5% seaweed within the Bio20 will cause the plant to quickly develop rooting. And then you'll top that off with a fortified to continue to feed that rooting for phosphorus and potassium, right? So to get that strong or further root mass, you want to combine the Bio20 and the fortified. All right. So after you have those healthy plants leaving nursery, what you want to do is transition to your transplant phase. The transplant now, you want to apply your solid grow plus your green sim plus your cytokine. And you ask me, all right, Jenna, why use all 3? All right, here the reason behind this now. So what your solid grow will do would give you that high phosphorus source while giving potassium, nitrogen, and other micronutrients, while the green stem will ease that transplant shock. You notice if persons do transplant and you realize that for a week or so, the plant is shocked, like in a state of stunt. So the soil, the green stem will ease that transplant shock, right? While now your cytokinin will help with that further root development and further stem growth. Understand? So that combination will give you all in all overall quick start. As the name suggests, solid grow kick start, right? So it give you that kick in the start of the crop. All right. So week one will come now in terms of foliar, because as the legend suggests, the blue arrows indicate foliar application, right? And the red arrows suggest soil application. So those first three applications are done to the soil, while we transition now into our foliar aspect. So what you want to do, week one after transplant is to apply your Omics Bio 20 plus your Fortify. So being translaminar, you're getting that effect quickly to the plant. You're further developing your roots. You're further giving that quick leaf growth with that high nitrogen component, while still bolstering your phosphorus content. And you continue with this mix from week one unto week three, right? So at the week three stage, you have push your foliage to a state that will allow your plant to quickly develop or quickly create a factory for the fruits. As you know, watermelons are one of those vine crops that basically have to have good foliage. Reason being, the crop has to carry a large fruit that is demanding. So your foliage is very key for watermelon production, right? So you want to develop that quick foliage, that nice foliage quickly. Understand? So after you develop that foliage, you put aside the Bio 20 now and you transition into your Calmax B fortified combination. And here are this combination right now. Your calcium will help with your flower holding, right? It'll continue helping with your root development, your root tips, because the root tips need sufficient calcium. Also, because your foliage is so large after applying the Bio 20, the foliage will demand a lot of calcium. And if you allow the foliage to rob the flower, the fruit of that calcium, you'll further get flower drop or fruit drop, right? So you combine a Calmax B with a Fortify, and Calmax B having boron help with that good uh, fruit development and flower formation, and also carry sugars into the fruit. So that early fruit set, the boron is pulling that sugar into the fruit. And the Fortify, ideally now with the phosphite, is basically carrying around the calcium even quicker around the fruit, building the resistance of the fruit, and even contributing to further root development. So you continue this from week 4 until week 7. Understand? So you continue the program weekly until week 7. Then at week 8, you want to come in now with your Miller Sugar Express and Omics Calmax B. What this is doing is basically giving you that quick fruit development. So Calmax B at this stage is swelling your skin and preventing cracking or splitting. So you're giving your skin enough calcium to quickly develop. So as the plant is taking in that high potassium from your sugar express, it won't crack, right? And the sugar express now giving you that nice color, sweetness, and further leading into size. All right. Then so week 9, you continue that application. Generally, what we do at week 9, give a test. So you sample a couple melons, determine the sweetness, determine the size, and you know again if it can come with the further continue the application and your Sugar Express and Calmax B. And that will overall result in a nice quality fruit, very sweet, very large, and ideal for the market. Right? So what I did was to put this pictogram in a tabular form. So there you go. So stating from 1 to 9 weeks after transplant. So I give you there your omics from week 1 to 3. Then your Calmax B45 from 4 to 7. Then 8 to 9, your Sugar Express with your Calmax B. And over on the right, you can see your application either in ml or gram per gallon of water or per 3.8 liter of water. So there you have it. So this is the foliar nutrition program. So the first one, that's an option. So if you're in an area that you're more accessible to your omics line of foliars, you can go with foliar nutrition one. All right. So what we're going to do now is to transition into option two. All right. Let us quickly go through. So as before, Saita and the sowing. Next with the omics by 2045 mix. Then your Soligo green sim cytokine. As I said, those are soil application or medium application, right? And then now, the transition into week one now, we're looking at our Agaleaf Green Max. And this, as I said before, this is one of the newer lines of foliars from the Agafert brand, right? So you combine that with your green sim cytokine, and that will give you that, as I said, green max, it give that good foliage development, easing that stress and leading into your stem elongation and root and vine development, right? You do a next application with that. So 1 and 2, week 1 and 2, become Agali Green Max, Green Sim, and Cytokine. While in week 3 now, you transition to your Nutrimax, right? Oh, and I should point out the Agali Green Max is 30-10-10 with micronutrients, right? It's a high nitrogen component. So in week 3, with the Nutrimax, which is a 20-20-20 with trace elements, so you combine that with your green stem and cytokine. So at this stage, you're supplying the plants with enough a balanced nutritional program, right? Your people talk about a balanced meal. You're supplying them that balanced nutritional program to get them to that little growing stage. Because within this stage, the plant is absorbing a lot of nitrogen. It still wants a good amount of phosphorus and potassium. So you just give it a balanced nutritional product to carry it through that stage. While at week 4, with an early flower set, right, you transition into your nutrient express and realize I basically eased off the green sin cytokine because we don't want to apply too much biostimulants to further stress the plant, right? Because if you overdo your biostimulant application, you can stress the plant, right? Although they're helping to stimulate, if you put on too much stimulant to stimulate and you're not feeding it, you have a plant that will slowly kill itself. Understand? So week 4, we transition by itself, Nutrient Express 44127, one of the top foliars on the market. And with the Express technology, within 15 minutes of spraying it on, the product enters the plant and starts to work. So with that high phosphorus component, nice for your flower set, and then with the transition into your potassium, giving you that ideal further rooting, early transition of potassium into the fruit, so getting an overall nice development of the crop. And then week 5, I come with the Saita Evergreen, and as I say, 41% phosphorus, 41% calcium, 40% phosphorus. This is supplying enough calcium to prevent that flower drop, that fruit fall, that cracking. So this is ideal. And in combination with your evergreen, you're getting a nice development of the crop. So for week 6 now, you come now with your Nutrient Express green stem. Reason being is that the plant has more fruits, so you want to ease that stress, right? So you do that combination, Nutrient Express with the green stem, to ease that further stress. While in week 7, you come back now, you site evergreen to further increase the calcium level because the plant is demanding a lot of calcium here, right? While the foliage is still taking some amount of calcium, but in order to offset that, you come in the site evergreen to further increase the size, give it the phosphorus, give it the phosphite to give it that nice development. And for week 8 and 9, similar to nutritional program 1, you come in the Sugar Express Calmax B because you're finishing off the crop with the fruit now. So you're getting that nice fruit set, prevent your splitting, prevent the cracking, uniformity in terms of potassium, so you're not having that mixed coloration of your fruit. So nice even tone, and you're increasing your sweetness. And as before, I place it in a tabular form. So there you go, from week 1 to 9. So the different lines of fertilizer and the dosage application that you can use. So that's a quick one you can look at. All right. All right. So what would then transition now, since you cover your foliar application, now you transition into your granular application. And this is where a lot of farmers or growers are going to say, are going to have a problem, right? Because in my program, or in the CCJ program, sorry, we basically recommend that a tree application. And over the years, I've realized doing different experiments and demonstration, I realized that I've always gotten a better performance out of that tree application of fertilizers. And I think no, it should be a standard. You might say, Janai, that sounds like a sale pitch, but no. Over the years, realize that giving the plant additional base nutrients works out better. So instead of putting on that fertilizer heavy 1 or 2 times, you're doing smaller amounts and you have it on a more consistent basis. So in this pictogram, we have the elixir. So to start off, and this is 1 week after transplant, to start off, you have the elixir 16-27-7, 9% sulfur and amosulfan combination. And generally, I recommend this to a 2-to-1 ratio. So 2 parts of the elixir and 1 part of the amosulfan. And here what's going to happen. With that high solubility component of the elixir and that 9% sulfur, which helps in the uptake of most nutrients such as phosphorus, nitrogen, other micronutrients, the sulfur is very ideal. And then when you combine that with that amosulfan, which is a sulfate of ammonia, right, you are getting a quick root development and quick foliage development. So you're getting quick bottom growth, quick top growth. Understand? Or an option is using our Abadon 14-28-14 with our amosulfan. So you're getting similar results. Quick root development, quick foliage growth, and a generally quick start to the plant. So both options will deliver quick results to the plant. And then what the program indicates now is a next application at week 3. And generally when we're applying fertilizers, we're thinking about 20 gram per plant, about how much is box or a little less, right? So for week 3 application, which is 2 weeks after the first application, you have several options. And you might say, whoa, there's a lot of option there, but here what? This will provide you as much option to get the results that you want. So if you're in an area, for example, Manchester, and you may not have access to 12-12-17, you can draw for your Elixir 15-15, right? Which will deliver 12% sulfur, and you combine it again with the amosulfan. And the reason for combining these blends with amosulfan a second time is that in that middle growth phase, the melon tends to pull a lot of nitrogen. So you want to ensure enough nitrogen is available to the plant to further extend that leaf growth and vine development. So for the first option, we have a 12-12-17, right? And this has your manganese, your sulfur, and your zinc. All right, and the potassium and the phosphorus sources are sulfate base, right? So that will allow it quick uptake of the phosphorus. All right, next option, as I said before, is 15 Elixir 15-15-15, which is a very popular one now on the market. And a new introduction farmers, which I think is going to be a big craze, is the Elixir 8-15-15 with 3% calcium, 9% sulfur. This one I think is going to be one of those top blends on the market. And what we do, we top it off with our amosulfan to increase that nitrogen component. But these fertilizers, as I say, is a new introduction to the Elixir line, 8-15-15 with 3% calcium and 9% sulfur. Pay attention to that one. All right. And finally, our regular blends, you have the 11, 22, 22 with amasulfan. So you're dropping this mix, boosting up the phosphorus. Uh, basically, yeah, lowering the phosphorus, increasing the potassium, because gradually as you come now to fruit set, the plant is going to pull more higher potassium. So you're not giving that potassium shock, but you gradually increase that potassium until you lead on now to week 5. And notice with these application at week 5, you still have enough room to do a granular application, right? If you leave the application down to week 7 and further on, you won't be able to fertilize properly. But at week 5, you still have enough room to do a proper application. And at week 5, wherever Elixir 720/30, very high potassium, still giving a lot of phosphorus, easing off with the nitrogen, and still have enough sulfur to give that quick uptake. I realize I've left out the nitrogen component because we don't want to add too much nitrogen in this last phase, which will lead to spoilage. Generally, when you have this fruit set, you don't want too much nitrogen to be in the leaf, where the leaf becomes susceptible to your downy mildew, right? So you ease off nitrogen component and you're pushing out your potassium base. So the first option, the elixir, or the second option, you can use the regular blend, Abadon 15,535. And that will cancel off your granular application. So this is it in a tabular form. As you can see, I gave you the dosage in terms of pounds per acre and kilogram per hectare, right? So generally, the first application would take about a bag, elixir amasulfan, of your elixir, sorry, amasulfan, yeah, and 2 bags of your elixir 1627. Yeah, man, so that's correct. So there goes a dosage application. I remember I'm calculating about 20 to 25 gram per plant, right? All right, so we dealt with the granular application. Let's touch now the soluble application. And remember I said we have one of the premium soluble complete uh, fertilizers. So this is the Agasol blend, and this is out of Europe from the Agafert line. And I say, as I said, premium, this is a premium blend of fertilizer. So if you're a farmer that is new to agriculture, or you can bother with the mixing of different uh, macronutrients or micronutrients, this is a nice blend that you can use, that you can run on either through your bulk mix or your fertigation system. And to note, for persons who are doing bulk mixture, listen, you use your agasol at a rate of 250 gram to 300 gram per 100 liter, right? So that basically mean about 250 to 300 gram to a 50 gallon drum, right? So you can do a calculation based on the size of your tank or your tote or whatever, right? That's for the bulk with persons who are doing bulk mixture, all right? So with the Augusta line now, you start running your nutrients about a week or week or two after transplant, right? And what you want to come in now, you want to come with a complete blend. So you're thinking about the Agasol 2020 with your trace elements, right? And you do that until week 4. So you're running that as often as you irrigate, you'd want to run your Agasol line. Because generally, in the Caribbean, persons usually determine how much they are generally fertigate about 3 times for the week. But for fertigation, the common rule is that you feed as often as you irrigate. That is a general rule, right? But we may alter that, or we have altered that locally. So from week 2 to 4, use the Agasol 20 plus trace elements. Then from week 5 to 6 now, you want to come with your Agasol 10-5-40. And what that is doing, oh, no, sorry. Should be a slight correction. At week 5 to 6, this should be the Agasal 91836. Sorry, and that one has a magnesium component and the trace elements. So that is stepping up the potassium more, dropping the phosphorus a bit, and giving the plants enough magnesium. Because if you look on the crop analysis for the watermelon fruit, it has a lot of magnesium. So you want to include that 91836 with that magnesium to further bolster the development of the plant and the quick uptake of the potassium. Also, you can come now with your Agasol 10540 from week 8 to 9. So you're pushing that potassium, giving it some amount of micronutrients to carry out the regular functions of the plant and to further develop the fruit properly and give it that size that you need. And to point out, I didn't include calcium nitrate in this program, but you can apply it based on your soil requirements, right? So if your plant is, your fruits are bursting, or you see where you have done tests and it says you're low in calcium, you can apply calcium nitrate or your Saita through your drip within this cycle period, all right? And there you go. In terms of the tabular form. So that, as I said before, from weeks 2 to 4, you're using your Agasol 20-20-20 with trace elements at dosage rates about, you see in the 2020, about 36 to 45 to 54 in that first 2 to 4 weeks, right? And persons might be saying it's a high application rate, but this deliver the consistent fruit size that you're seeking for. So you don't want to have about over 50% of your fruits being left back in the field. You want to get close to 80% of your fruits developing in the size bracket that you want. So if you're looking about a 25 to 30 pound size, this application rate will deliver that, right? Because you're feeding the plant more effectively. You're not cutting off and you're not shrinking the plant. And remember, because the liquid feed is the only option you're going here with, you want to ensure that the plant is fed sustainably to give you that production size, because this fruit is a high demanding fruit. So any cutback, the fruit will show, right? So even improper ripening, poor development, and small size, right? So that's the program mentioned. Generally, persons want to see some results, right? So I'm gonna show you a couple of farmers who have used poor sections of the program and have gotten extraordinary results. All right, so let me start off now with Mr. Winston Enriquez and Nicole Samuel from out of Philadelphia, St. Thomas. And they were growing both extreme and empire varieties. And just by using Omics and the Miller products, so they probably have used at the fortified Calmax B by 20 Nutrient Express, and they obtain yields that basically surprise them, right? So they were averaging fruits weighing up to, sorry, not 48, 38. 38, that was a typo. 38 pounds, right? And generally, these varieties were clocking about like 28, 30 on average, but they were getting an average of 28 pounds, 38 pounds, right? So that's a good result for them. And then these guys now in St. Elizabeth, they call Tech Pro, top melon farmers that side, right? They basically did not use a complete CCJ program, but the combination of the Miller and the Omics delivered lovely result. They were averaging about 75,000 pounds to the acre, right? And to 2 acres, right? To 2 acres, right? So you're averaging over 35,000 pounds per acre. So this is 75,000 pounds to 2 acres. It's a Campbell now, a farm out of St. Thomas, similar area as Nicole. This farmer had cultivated about 0.7 squares, right? It's seventh of an acre, and the farmer had harvested over 20,000 pounds, but sadly lost over 1,500 pounds due to irrigation issues. So he would have got similar results as Tech Pro, right? We're averaging about over 35,000 pounds per acre, right? And other farmers have other results in terms of areas. You have farmer like Laver and Reed, right? In the Manchester St. Elizabeth border, who was averaging about 70,000 pounds in 2 acres. Excellent results. You have farmer like Mr. Gary Banks, right, from Flagamans, averaging about 35,000 pounds per acre. Mr. Dyer from Richpen, averaging 30,000 pounds per acre. What else? Yeah, so those are some of the testimonials. And if you are listening to the number, you realize in that 30, that 35 bracket range, and a lot of the farmers are not using that full program. So what I'm saying now, I challenge the farmers who are listening, and I'm glad they're here, right? If you want to get that yield over that 35,000 pounds per acre, I challenge you to use the full program. So either you're going to select one of the foliar nutritional components mixed with a granular or a soluble program, right? So I challenge you to use a program to get over that 35,000 pounds. And in the future, we'll have other programs in terms of uh, separate nutrients. So if you're a person that prefers to mix your calcium, your magnesium, right, your MAP, we'll have programs on that as we further to basically improve our inventory. Understand? So that's going to be the challenge to you farmers. Use a program and try to boost your yield with this melon season. And before I end, there's a question. Let me ask a question. Hope everyone is listening, because this was something I pointed out and I stressed on in the presentation. So if you're listening, you'll get this one easy. All right. So let me go ahead. Which Elixir blend is newly introduced, and if you can state the macronutrient ratio? So which one of the Elixir granular fertilizers, I say, is one of the new introduction that I think will make a star on the market? So you can just state the macronutrient ratio, right? So that's it. But in the meantime, while you answer that, Georgia's
Sure.
up a poll. Oh, a question here that she wants to ask farmers that are in the training, right? So you can go ahead and participate in this poll while you think about the answer. You can put the answers in the chat, please.
Jonoy Lord, which has his hand up. Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah, afternoon.
Afternoon.
And you know, so I love to get one contact number because I'm gonna need some more information still, you know.
All right. Yeah, man. We can get that to you. Our contact number for me in particular or in our rep?
Yeah, more so one contact number for you in particular. Cause I want to put in some watermelon still. But you know, I go want some more information, some more guidance. I kinda meet and them things they still in about.
Yeah.
I want to make certain, you know.
Yeah, man. Not a
That's
problem.
my
Not a
things them where
problem.
you explain and them things there. Me kinda it kind of too much in my process right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
during the stage, me I want to know what going. And when no one ask, you can line up a soil test me.
All right, we don't currently do soil tests, you know. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, we don't currently do soil tests. We're working on it, but we don't currently do it. But from the ministry, I think there's persons from the ministry that we can do one, or
Oh,
other stakeholders. But we can put you on to someone that can assist you with that.
right. Me I love to know what go on still, you know. Cause me
Yeah,
I
man.
like to know what kind of nutrients and them thing they nice soil, so me can know specifically what and the amount if you apply.
Yeah, yeah. Not a
So
problem.
just let me get a number for you.
Yeah, man. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna after the poll, I'm gonna move to the one of the page that will show the contacts of the different
Yeah.
groups in the region.
All right. Me kind of dip on the street and me batch it dead right now still. So.
All right. What you can do, you can leave the information in the chat, and then you can have Georgia get you and we'll contact you regarding that.
All right. My number 544.
Georgia, all right, let me record that. You don't mind sharing it on the training on the live.
No, me have no issue.
All right, you said. Yeah, repeat the number.
544 7083.
544.
7083.
All right. Name?
Mr. Rich.
Sir Rich. All right. All right, then, Sir Rich.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm Evan Mandisa.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Is the presentation on YouTube, please?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful, because I don't know, I was looking forward to it and then I just missed it. Just came on.
Okay. Sorry about that.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, welcome.
Have answers in the chat as yeah.
No answers in the chat, George?
You want
All right, let me repeat. Which blend of elixir that was mentioned in the presentation that has been recently introduced, right? And which I think will be one of the top sellers. So think back. A new blend that was in the middle that was at week 3 in the fertilizer application, granular fertilizer application.
There's some answers in the chat.
Oh, let me see. Okay, yes. Stevie. Mr. Stevie. 8-15-15. Yeah, man, that's it. 8-15-15 with 3% calcium and 9% sulfur. Yeah, that's it. Sir Stevie, if you can share your contact with marketing officer, George Robinson. Yeah, man, that blend is will be one of the top blends. Having that calcium and phosphorus source, farmers should be expecting remarkable results. And I don't want to limit that blend to only watermelon. Any crop that is flowering or demands calcium, that's a good blend to use. And since in some areas we're going on to the dry period, you want to ensure that your fertilizers are soluble, right? So you don't want a fertilizer that is cheating you a lot of the nutrient that you desire.
Genoa.
Yes, afternoon.
Hello?
Yes, hearing you. Afternoon.
Hello? Genoa?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Not hearing me? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
hearing you.
How soon will this presentation be up on your website?
Georgia.
It is already on YouTube. You can, once you finish here, you can go back to YouTube and listen to it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for a good presentation, Genoa.
All right, thanks again.
And I also want to remind everyone, if you could do the questionnaire, it won't take you more than a minute. Kindly asking if you could just fill it out for us as we try to improve our services. And I also want to remind you that you can always ask for our crop care guides. We have watermelon, corn, pepper, tomato, root crops, you name it. Whatever you're growing, we have the crop care guide. So you can send us a WhatsApp at 876-401-4766. It's in the chat.
Can I just ask you to send all of them to me?
It's in the chat. Yes.
Georgia?
Repeat that. Or you want them all to be emailed to you? Salian?
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, that's what you said.
Right. You can go ahead and request whichever crop care guides you want, and you can whether email, WhatsApp, or send us a message on Instagram or Facebook. We will respond to you. And remember, we're asking you to go on our YouTube page or our YouTube channel. We have quite a few presentations there, and you can always go back and just listen to them as you seek to grow your crops better. Please like and subscribe to our channel also. You can go ahead with the slideshow, General.
All right. Now. All right, so upcoming events. On Thursday, February 24th, there's a farmer interactive session, getting to know your CCJ's fertilizer at M&K Farm Supplies, right? Stephen Run, Nain St. Elizabeth. So this is from 9 to 3 p.m. with the agronomists Sian Spence and Andre Rance. And on Friday, February 25th, similar interactive session on fertilizers as well. At two locations, Biggs Farm Store in Mesa River and Benjamin and Son in Douglas Castle. And these farm stores are in Clarendon, and the sessions run from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. with agronomist Dane Parker and Charmaine Walker Robinson. And also on Friday as well, there is going to be a YouTube Live on Miller Products at 3:30 p.m. with your presenter, Dennis Leckie. And join us tomorrow, Wednesday on Power 106. Yes, tomorrow, Power 106 at 6:18. When we feature the different products and programs. So tomorrow we'll be talking about watermelon production, right? Yeah. Oh, sorry. No, we're making a switch tomorrow. Tomorrow, the managing director will be speaking on the supply chain effect, right? Farmers are very concerned that there's an issue with product availability and pricing, but he will address that issue tomorrow on Farm Talk on Power 106 at 6:18. Yeah. So there you go. For anyone who wants contact information on the different reps in the different areas, here you have it. So talking about Northeast, Northwest, Southeast, Central, and Southwest region. So farmers, thank you again. Our listeners, thank you again. I hope you have learned sufficient to carry on your watermelon production. And if you want access to watermelon guides, we can send you them. And if there is any further question, you can contact any other agronomists and we can assist you with your production. And remember, We have several varieties now in stock, your Extreme, your Empire, and your Sureness, right? So you can diversify your production with the varieties that we have. So thanks again. George, you have anything to say?
On YouTube, Janoy, there was a question. Will these methods work for the yellow variety as well?
Yeah, man, definitely. We have used the Omics and Miller foliars on the yellow variety and get extraordinary results. So we're talking about even increasing the general size. So we have gotten yellow melons weighing up to 11 or 15 pounds, which they are generally about 7 or 9 pounds. So they work. And with our introduction of the granular and soluble lines, we're looking at pushing these yields much further. Yeah, so it definitely would work, man. Definitely would work.
And Mr. Vickers is saying, I have a small space, 3,000 square feet. How much of the yellow variety can I plant and how much fruit per plant?
All right, generally, all right, let me just give you a breakdown. How I space it in terms of general melon and in particular yellow melon, you can put the yellow melon a bit closer on the bed. So on each bed, you can put them about 2 feet apart, but I still give them a spacing width of about 9 feet, 8 to 9 feet between beds, right? So along the bed or along the drip line, you're spacing them about 2 feet apart, and then between beds, you're giving 8 to 9 feet. The yellow melon you can put a bit closer, about 8 feet, yeah. But for the bigger melon,
Janai,
yeah,
Serbia, Frank Clarendon.
yes, sir, B.
What you do, single plant or double plant when they say 2 feet?
Okay, no, single. Sorry, single, yeah, single. Yeah, that is more specific single. So not two rows on a bed, one row on a bed. So so you're spacing every 2 feet. So the first emitter, and then now 2 feet further, you put an next plant. All right. But for the larger melons, I realized that spacing them 3 feet and onwards is better. If you go 2 feet, you generally get smaller fruits because it's clustered too much. But you get a lot of fruits, but they're much smaller. So if you go 3 feet and more for the larger melons, you'll get the size. And in terms of bed spacing, you go 10 feet. So 3 by 10. That's for the larger melons. If you go any closer, I say, smaller fruits, more fruits, and you have more issues with fungal problems. So you may think you want to compact the area and put plants on every bed. No, it leads to greater problem and lower production. So once you work with those spacing, you should be all right. All right, that's it, Georgia.
Thank you so much. And I just want to thank everyone who participated in the questionnaire. And thank you all for logging on to the training. And I wish you all the best for the rest of the day.
All right, take care.